In the quiet hours before dawn, when most of the world is asleep and history seems to pause, there are men and women already moving through the dark, carrying the weight of decisions that will never make headlines and victories that will never be celebrated in public. These are America's Special Operations Forces, units designed not for parade grounds or press conferences, but for the moments when failure is not an option and silence is often the only reward. Their missions are shaped by urgency, ambiguity, and consequence, and their stories form a hidden spine of modern American military history. The idea of elite forces in the United States did not emerge from glamour or mythology, but from hard lessons learned in blood during World War II. As conventional armies clashed across continents, small groups of unconventional warriors proved that precision, deception, and adaptability could change the course of a campaign. The Office of Strategic Services, the forerunner of today's CIA and Special Operations community, sent operatives behind enemy lines to sabotage railways, organize resistance fighters, and gather intelligence that no reconnaissance plane could provide. These missions were improvised, dangerous, and often desperate, but they demonstrated something enduring. Wars are not won only by mass formations, but by individuals willing to operate alone in hostile territory, far from reinforcement. After the war, the United States tried to return to normalcy, but history did not allow it. The Cold War introduced a different kind of battlefield, one defined by proxy wars, ideological struggle, and conflicts that simmered in the shadows rather than exploding into total war. It was in this environment that the modern Special Operations community began to take shape. The Army Special Forces, later known to the world as the Green Berets, were born from the recognition that winning hearts and minds could be as decisive as winning firefights. These soldiers were trained not just to fight, but to teach, advise, and build partnerships with foreign forces. They learned languages, studied cultures, and mastered the art of operating among local populations, often in remote regions where American presence was politically sensitive and militarily risky. The Green Berets became the embodiment of unconventional warfare. In jungles, deserts, and mountains, they trained guerrilla fighters, advised allied militaries, and helped fragile governments resist insurgency and collapse. Their mission was not always to win quickly, but to build resilience over time, to turn small forces into capable defenders of their own nations. Behind every mission were human relationships forged under pressure, bonds of trust built through shared danger, and sacrifices that rarely found their way into official histories. While the Green Berets were shaping the land-based unconventional fight, the oceans demanded their own specialists. The Navy SEALs emerged from the legacy of World War II combat swimmers and underwater demolition teams, men who cleared obstacles from beaches under fire so amphibious landings could succeed. Over time, their mission expanded far beyond the shoreline. SEALs became masters of sea, air, and land, capable of inserting from submarines, parachuting from high altitude, or moving silently through hostile cities. Their training became synonymous with endurance and mental toughness, pushing candidates to the edge of physical collapse to identify those who could function under extreme stress. SEAL operations often took place in the most politically sensitive environments, where deniability mattered and speed was critical. From counterterrorism raids to reconnaissance missions deep behind enemy lines, their work demanded not only physical prowess, but emotional control. In the moments before a breach or a jump into darkness, there is no room for doubt. There is only trust in training, trust in teammates, and acceptance of the fact that not everyone comes home. As conflicts grew more complex and threats more asymmetric, the need for rapid, decisive counterterrorism capabilities became painfully clear. The failed hostage rescue attempt in Iran in 1980 exposed deep flaws in coordination and preparedness across U.S. military branches. From that failure emerged a new philosophy and a new unit, one designed to respond immediately to the most dangerous missions imaginable. The Army's 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, known simply as Delta Force, was created to hunt the most elusive enemies, rescue hostages under the worst conditions, and strike targets of the highest value. Delta Force operates in near-total secrecy, and much of what is known comes from fragments, whispers, and the accounts of those who have served alongside them. Their selection process is unforgiving, designed not to find the strongest or fastest, but the most adaptable and mentally resilient. Delta operators train relentlessly in close-quarters battle, marksmanship, and intelligence-driven operations, refining their skills to a level where speed and precision merge into instinct. When they are deployed, it is often because the stakes are too high for failure and the margin for error is non-existent. The Air Force, long associated with dominance of the skies, found its own place within the special operations community by focusing on control of the air-ground interface and rescue under fire. Air Force Special Tactics units, including combat controllers and pararescue men, brought a unique capability to the battlefield. Combat controllers are trained to establish airfields in hostile territory, coordinate airstrikes with pinpoint accuracy, and integrate air power seamlessly with ground operations. Pararescue men, known as BJs, specialize in rescuing wounded personnel from the most dangerous environments, often risking their lives to save others. The motto of the pararescue men, "that others may live," is not a slogan, but a mission statement carried into combat zones where helicopters draw fire, and time is measured in heartbeats. Their work embodies a different kind of heroism, one focused not on eliminating the enemy, but on preserving life under conditions where survival seems impossible. In these moments, the line between success and tragedy is often determined by the calm professionalism of individuals, trained to act decisively when chaos reigns. The Marine Corps, with its expeditionary mindset, also carved out a role in special operations through the creation of Marine Raiders. Drawing on a lineage that traces back to World War II Raider units, modern Marine special operators combine the Corps' aggressive ethos with advanced special operations training. They conduct direct action missions, special reconnaissance, and foreign internal defense, often operating in austere environments where adaptability is essential. Their presence reinforces the idea that special operations is not about a single branch or culture, but about a shared commitment to excellence across the entire force. Beyond these widely known units exists an intricate network of enablers and specialists who make special operations possible. Intelligence analysts, cyber operators, aviation units, and logistics teams work tirelessly behind the scenes to provide the information, mobility, and support that allow elite operators to succeed. Specialized aviation units fly helicopters and aircraft modified for low-level night operations, threading through terrain that leaves no room for error. Their pilots train to navigate by instinct and instruments alone, delivering teams precisely where they are needed and extracting them under fire. Modern special operations are shaped by lessons learned in long, grinding conflicts where victories are often ambiguous and timelines stretch into decades. In Afghanistan and Iraq, special operations forces were at the forefront from the earliest days, conducting raids, training local partners, and hunting insurgent leaders. These campaigns tested not only tactical skills, but emotional endurance. Operators faced repeated deployments, moral complexity, and the burden of decisions that carried life and death consequences for both enemies and civilians. Through it all, the human element remained central. Behind every operation is a family waiting at home, a network of support that absorbs the stress and uncertainty of a life lived on call. The sacrifices of special operations forces extend far beyond the battlefield, shaping relationships, identities, and futures. The culture of these units emphasizes humility and quiet professionalism, a recognition that true mastery does not require applause. As technology advances, the nature of special operations continues to evolve. Cyber warfare, space-based assets, and information operations now intersect with traditional missions, expanding the battlefield into new domains. Yet despite these changes, the core principles remain unchanged. Special operations forces exist to confront uncertainty, to operate where conventional forces cannot, and to make sense of chaos through discipline and teamwork. They are not defined solely by their equipment or tactics, but by a mindset forged through shared hardship and relentless training. In moments of crisis, when time is short and options are limited, these forces represent the sharpest edge of national resolve. They are set not because victory is guaranteed, but because the cost of inaction is unacceptable. Their presence is felt more often than it is seen. Their impact measured not in public recognition, but in crises averted and lives protected. When the mission ends and the noise fades, they return quietly to the shadows carrying stories that will never be fully told, bound by a commitment to serve without recognition and to stand ready when the world once again slips into darkness.